What if your life doesn't change slowly, step by step, but shifts the moment you adopt one uncompromising habit? Most people search for motivation, new routines, or dramatic breakthroughs, believing change requires more effort, more tools, more inspiration. Yet they end each day exhausted, reactive, and disappointed, wondering why nothing truly sticks. The truth is uncomfortable. Life doesn't transform because you want it to, or because you feel ready. Stoic philosophy understood this long before self-help existed. The Stoics didn't chase motivation. They trained discipline. They didn't wait for clarity. They created it through daily self-confrontation. And they believed real change begins not in the morning, but at night, when no one is watching and excuses fade. Tonight, you will learn the one Stoic habit powerful enough to reshape how you think, act, and respond, starting immediately. Not by controlling outcomes, not by forcing positivity, but by mastering the only thing under your command, your judgment, your actions, and your character. Part 1. The lie about change. Most people believe change begins with motivation. They wait to feel inspired, to feel ready, to feel certain that this time will be different. They tell themselves they will start when the pressure eases, when life slows down, when their emotions finally cooperate. And while they wait, days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and nothing truly changes. This is the first and most dangerous lie about change. The belief that transformation starts with how you feel. Feelings are unstable by nature. They rise, fall, and disappear without warning. When change depends on motivation, it collapses the moment discomfort appears. Resistance shows up, boredom sets in, life interferes, and the habit quietly dies. Stoic philosophy saw through this illusion long ago. The Stoics understood that real change does not come from emotional surges or moments of inspiration. It comes from discipline practiced when no one is watching. They believed improvement must survive boredom, fatigue, and doubt, because those are the conditions under which life is actually lived. If change required feeling good, almost no one would ever grow. The Stoics knew feelings were not reliable allies. What mattered was action guided by reason. You act not because it feels good, but because it is right. You act not because you are motivated, but because you are committed to becoming a certain kind of person. Modern culture teaches you to chase outcomes, better results, more success, more recognition, more happiness. But the Stoics warned that chasing outcomes weakens the mind. Outcomes are external. They depend on timing, other people, luck, and circumstances beyond your control. When you tie your sense of worth to results, you become anxious and reactive. Every setback feels like failure. Every delay feels personal. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you should waste no more time arguing about what a good person should be, and simply be one. This was not philosophy for discussion. It was an instruction for living. He was pointing to a brutal truth. Character is built through action, not intention. You do not become disciplined by thinking about discipline. You become disciplined by practicing it, especially when it is uncomfortable. This is why most self-improvement fails. People collect information instead of building character. They plan endlessly instead of acting consistently. They confuse understanding with transformation. Knowing what to do feels productive, but it changes nothing if behavior stays the same. The Stoics never confused knowledge with virtue. They believed wisdom only mattered if it showed up in behavior. If it did not change how you spoke, how you reacted, how you judged yourself, and how you treated others, then it was not wisdom at all. It was ego disguised as insight. Another lie about change is that it must be dramatic. People expect a breakthrough moment, a powerful realization that flips everything overnight. When that moment does not arrive, they assume they are broken. The Stoics viewed this mindset as childish. They knew life is shaped quietly through small, repeated acts of self-governance. unimpressive, that is precisely why it works. The Stoics focused on process, not excitement. They did not ask whether a habit felt inspiring, they asked whether it strengthened character. Your life is not shaped by your goals, it is shaped by your habits. Goals are wishes about the future. Habits are decisions you repeat until they become your identity. Habits do not require motivation, they require structure. This is where Stoicism becomes uncomfortable. It removes excuses, it removes emotional dependency, it removes the illusion that someone or something will come and save you. Instead, it hands responsibility back to you, not harshly, but clearly. Once you see this, change stops feeling overwhelming. You do not need to redesign your entire life. You do not need 10 new routines. You need one disciplined habit that forces you to face yourself honestly, every day, without negotiation. And that habit does not begin in the morning. It begins at night. Part 2. The one habit Stoics trained. Every day, the Stoics did not begin their transformation by chasing productivity, affirmations, or morning rituals designed to feel good. They began with something far more demanding and far more powerful. Nightly self-examination. At the end of each day, when the noise faded and distractions lost their grip, they turned inward and faced themselves without excuses. This habit was not about comfort, it was about truth. Seneca wrote that every night before sleep, he put his soul on trial. He reviewed his actions, his words, his reactions, and his failures with ruthless honesty. Not to punish himself, and not to indulge guilt, but to sharpen his character. He understood something most people avoid today. You cannot improve what you refuse to examine. Modern self-reflection often asks, how do I feel? The Stoics asked a harder question. Did I live according to reason and virtue? Feelings change. Character compounds. The Stoics were not interested in emotional relief. They were interested in moral strength. Their nightly reflection was not therapy, it was training. This habit worked because it removed the need to blame the world. When you examine yourself every night, excuses lose their power. You stop saying, "They made me angry," and start seeing how quickly you surrendered control. You stop saying, "I had no choice," and recognize the moment where discipline failed. This is not self-criticism, it is self-ownership. Most people drift through their days on autopilot. They react, justify, distract, and repeat. Without reflection, days blur together. Patterns go unnoticed. Mistakes recycle themselves quietly. The Stoics refused to live this way. They believed an unexamined day was a wasted day, not because it lacked achievement, but because it lacked awareness. Nightly self-examination creates a powerful shift. Instead of life judging you through consequences, you begin judging yourself through reason. Instead of learning only through pain, you learn through attention. You no longer wait for failure to teach you lessons. You intercept those lessons early, when correction is still gentle. This habit also restores self-respect. When you know you will face yourself at night, your behavior during the day changes. You pause before reacting. You think before speaking. You choose restraint over impulse, not because someone is watching, but because you are. Accountability becomes internal, not external. The Stoics understood that mornings are easily hijacked by chaos, urgency, and other people's demands. Nights are different. At night, there is no performance, no applause, no audience, only you and your conscience. That is why this habit works so deeply and so quickly. It operates where identity is formed. This is not journaling for expression. It is journaling for correction. It is not about writing pages. It is about asking precise questions and accepting precise answers. The goal is not to feel better. The goal is to become better. Many people avoid this habit because they fear what they will see. They confuse self-examination with self-attack. The Stoics made a clear distinction. Harshness weakens the mind. Honesty strengthens it. You observe your failures the way a surgeon observes a wound, calmly, clearly, and with the intention to heal. This single habit begins to change your life because it rewires how you relate to yourself. You stop outsourcing responsibility to circumstances. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop drifting. Slowly, quietly, something rare begins to form. Integrity, not the image of integrity, but the lived experience of it. Over time, this habit builds a kind of calm that cannot be shaken easily. When you face yourself daily, criticism loses its sting. Praise loses its grip. You no longer need constant validation because you already know where you stand. You measured yourself honestly the night before. The Stoics did not seek overnight change through miracles. They created it through clarity. And clarity begins the moment you are willing to look at yourself without flinching, every single night. Part 3. Why this one habit changes everything. Nightly self-examination changes everything because it alters the relationship you have with yourself. Most people live as if someone else is supposed to correct them. They wait for consequences, criticism, or crisis to force reflection. The Stoic does not wait. He chooses awareness before pain, correction before collapse, and responsibility before regret. When you reflect each night, identity begins to shift. You stop seeing yourself as someone who reacts and start seeing yourself as someone who chooses. This is subtle at first, almost invisible, but it compounds quickly. You begin to recognize patterns instead of isolated mistakes. You see how the same impatience, the same avoidance, the same fear repeats itself across different situations. And once a pattern is seen clearly, it loses its power to hide. This habit changes how you experience emotion. Emotions no longer feel like commands you must obey. They become signals you observe. Anger becomes information. Fear becomes a message. Disappointment becomes feedback. Because you know you will examine your reactions later, you create a pause between impulse and action. That pause is where freedom lives. Self-examination also dismantles self-deception. Most people are experts at explaining themselves away. They justify, minimize, and rationalize their behavior until responsibility disappears. Nightly reflection interrupts that habit. There is no audience to impress, no story to sell, just the facts of how you lived. This honesty is uncomfortable at first, but it is also liberating. You no longer need to defend who you are because you are actively shaping who you are becoming. This habit builds self-respect in a way nothing external can. Confidence that depends on praise is fragile. Confidence that depends on results is unstable. But confidence that comes from knowing you faced yourself honestly and acted with integrity is quiet and durable. It does not need to be announced. It is felt internally as a grounded sense of alignment. Over time, this practice rewires how you handle pressure. When challenges arise, you are less reactive because you are already accustomed to examining yourself. You do not panic when you fall short, because failure is no longer a verdict. It is data. Each mistake becomes material for refinement instead of proof of inadequacy. This is why the Stoics valued this habit so deeply. It transformed discipline from something forced into something chosen. You are no longer obeying rules imposed from outside. You are honoring standards you have agreed to internally. That distinction changes everything. Nightly self-examination also simplifies life. Instead of carrying guilt, resentment, or confusion to bed, you process the day and release it. Sleep becomes deeper because the mind is not cluttered with unresolved tension. You wake up clearer, not because you planned better, but because you closed the day properly. Most importantly, this habit restores authorship over your life. You stop being a character reacting to events and start becoming the writer shaping the narrative. You see that while you cannot control outcomes, you can always control your effort, your judgment, and your response. Change feels sudden because alignment happens quietly. One honest night leads to a better choice the next day. That choice reinforces identity. Identity reshapes behavior, and behavior, repeated daily, transforms a life. This is not magic. It is discipline applied consistently. The Stoics understood that when you judge yourself calmly every night, the world loses its power to define you. You define yourself instead. Over weeks, this quiet ritual forges steadiness, clarity, and courage, until your days reflect intention, your nights reflect honesty, and your life reflects deliberate character and purpose. Part 4. The 3 questions that rewire your mind. The Stoics understood that reflection without structure quickly becomes self-indulgence. If you simply revisit your day without direction, the mind drifts into excuses, guilt, or emotional spirals. That is why their nightly self-examination was built around a small number of precise questions. Not many, not vague, just enough to cut through illusion and force clarity. At the center of this habit are 3 questions. Asked consistently, they begin to rewire how you think, judge, and act. They are simple, but they are not easy. Their power lies in their honesty. The first question is this: what did I do well today? This is not about ego or praise. It is about recognition. Most people overlook their moments of discipline because they are quiet and unspectacular. They focus only on what went wrong and miss the evidence of growth. The Stoics believed this was a mistake. Recognizing what you did well reinforces virtue. It teaches the mind what behavior is worth repeating. Maybe you stayed calm when provoked. Maybe you spoke truthfully when it was uncomfortable. Maybe you resisted an impulse that would have made the day easier, but the character weaker. These moments matter. Naming them strengthens self-respect and builds continuity between effort and identity. The second question cuts deeper. Where did I fail to act with reason or discipline? This is the question most people avoid or distort. They either soften it with excuses or weaponize it against themselves. The Stoic approach does neither. Failure is observed calmly, without drama. You're not attacking yourself, you're studying yourself. Where did impatience override judgment? Where did fear make the decision for you? Where did comfort win over integrity? By answering honestly, you interrupt patterns before they solidify. You stop mistakes from becoming habits. The third question is where change becomes real. What will I do better tomorrow specifically? This is not a promise to be perfect. It is a commitment to correction. Vague intentions change nothing. Specific adjustments change everything. You choose one small concrete improvement. Speak less in meetings. Pause before responding. Go to bed earlier. Set a boundary. The Stoics understood that character is not rebuilt in a day, but it is refined daily through small, deliberate choices. Together, these 3 questions form a closed loop: recognition, correction, and intention. You acknowledge progress, confront failure, and design improvement. Nothing is left unresolved. Nothing is carried unconsciously into the next day. What makes this practice so powerful is not the questions themselves, but the consistency. When you ask them every night, your mind begins anticipating them during the day. You become more present, more deliberate. You start acting in ways you will respect later. The future version of you becomes a quiet guide, shaping decisions in the present. This habit also dissolves the emotional excess. Guilt loses its grip because mistakes are addressed, not buried. Anxiety softens because tomorrow already has direction. Pride stays in check because self-assessment is grounded in behavior, not image. Many people think transformation requires intensity. The Stoics knew it required honesty. These 3 questions demand honesty without cruelty. They are firm but fair. Over time, they teach you to trust yourself, Because you are no longer avoiding the truth or exaggerating it. You are meeting it directly. As nights pass, something subtle changes. You stop drifting through your days. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop being surprised by your own behavior. You know where you stand because you measured yourself the night before. This is how the mind is rewired, not through inspiration, but through repetition, not through punishment, but through awareness. One night at a time, these 3 questions quietly shape a life that feels intentional, grounded, and increasingly difficult to shake. Part 5. Why morning habits fail while night habits endure. Most people are taught that change begins in the morning. Wake up early, be disciplined, win the first hour of the day and everything else will follow. This idea sounds powerful, but for most people, it quietly fails. Not because mornings are useless, but because mornings are fragile. Morning habits depend on conditions. They rely on sleep quality, energy levels, mood, and the chaos waiting outside your door. A single late night, unexpected obligation, or emotional disturbance can derail them completely. When this happens, people don't just skip the habit. They skip the identity attached to it. One missed morning becomes an excuse to abandon the entire process. Stoic philosophy understood something modern productivity culture often ignores. Habits that depend on ideal conditions rarely survive real life. Mornings are exposed to the world. Emails arrive. Responsibilities demand attention. Other people's priorities invade your focus. Even with discipline, mornings require a level of environmental control most lives simply do not allow. When a habit collapses under pressure, it teaches the mind a dangerous lesson. Discipline is optional when circumstances are difficult. Night habits operate differently. At night, the world loosens its grip. Demands fade, performances end. You're no longer required to impress, respond, or compete. There is no audience and no urgency. This makes night the most honest part of the day. And honesty is where real change begins. The Stoics placed reflection at night for a reason. Nightly habits do not depend on motivation, they depend on truth. You do not need energy to be honest. You need willingness. You do not need enthusiasm to reflect. You need courage. Another reason morning habits fail is emotional leakage. When you start the day with ambition but end it without reflection, unresolved emotions accumulate. Frustration, resentment, regret, and disappointment bleed into the next day, quietly shaping behavior. People wake up already burdened, already reactive, already behind. Night habits close the emotional loop. By examining the day before sleep, you process what happened instead of carrying it forward unconsciously. You release what no longer needs to be held. You correct what needs adjustment. This creates psychological cleanliness. You wake up lighter, not because life is easier, but because the mind is less cluttered. Night habits also build continuity. When you reflect each evening, you link one day to the next intentionally. Tomorrow is no longer a reset filled with false optimism. It is a continuation guided by clarity. You already know what matters. You already know what to improve. The next day begins with direction instead of reaction. There is also a deeper reason night habits endure. They shape identity at its quietest point. Identity is not formed when you are performing. It is formed when you are alone. When you sit with yourself at night and tell the truth, you reinforce the belief that your character matters even when no one is watching. This is why Stoic discipline feels solid instead of exhausting. It does not rely on force, it relies on alignment. You are not pushing yourself to become someone else. You are refining who you already are. Morning habits attempt to control the future. Night habits reconcile the past. The Stoics knew you cannot master tomorrow if you have not understood today. That is why they ended each day with reflection instead of fantasy. When you adopt a nightly habit, discipline stops being a performance and becomes a relationship with yourself. You do not wake up hoping to be better, you wake up prepared to be better. And that quiet difference is what makes night habits last while morning habits quietly fall apart. Part 6. How this habit builds. Unshakable. Calm. Unshakable. Calm is not something the Stoics tried to summon in the heat of chaos. They built it slowly, before chaos arrived. Nightly self-examination was the foundation of that calm, because it removed the need to be surprised by life. When you face yourself every evening, fewer things catch you off guard. Most people seek calm by trying to control external events. They want people to behave differently, situations to go their way, and life to be predictable. When it isn't, they feel anxious, irritated, or defeated. The Stoics saw this as a misplaced effort. Calm does not come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling how you meet it. This habit trains you to separate events from judgments. At night, you review what happened and notice where emotion took over reason. You see how anger distorted perception, how fear narrowed options, how impatience rushed decisions. Over time, this awareness weakens emotional reflexes. The next time a similar situation arises, you recognize it sooner. You pause. And in that pause, calm appears. Unshakable calm is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of choice. When you know you will examine your reactions later, you stop surrendering to them blindly. You become less explosive, not because you suppress emotion, but because you understand it. You see that emotions rise and fall, but character endures. Nightly reflection also dissolves regret. Regret is heavy because it is unresolved. It lingers when mistakes are ignored or justified. The Stoics refused to carry this weight. By confronting errors calmly each night, they closed the day cleanly. Nothing was buried, nothing was left to rot internally. This created mental clarity that most people rarely experience. As regret fades, fear weakens. Fear thrives on the unknown and the avoided. When you are honest with yourself daily, there is less to fear. You know where you stand. You know what needs work. You're no longer afraid of discovering your flaws because you already meet them regularly. This familiarity turns fear into focus. This habit also protects you from emotional manipulation. When you are grounded in self-assessment, praise does not inflate you and criticism does not collapse you. You do not outsource your worth to other people's opinions. You have already evaluated yourself. Calm grows from this internal authority. Over time, your nervous system learns something important. Not every stimulus requires a reaction. Not every feeling requires expression. Not every thought deserves belief. This is not detachment from life. It is mastery within it. The Stoics believed that calm was a form of strength. A calm person is difficult to provoke, difficult to control, and difficult to deceive. This strength does not come from arrogance. It comes from clarity. When you know yourself, the world loses leverage over you. Nightly self-examination trains this clarity gently but consistently. Each evening is a rehearsal for resilience. You revisit the moments that tested you and refine how you will meet them next time. This quiet preparation makes future challenges feel familiar instead of overwhelming. Eventually, something shifts. Life still brings pressure, conflict, and uncertainty, but they no longer shake your center. You respond instead of react. You choose instead of panic. Calm stops being something you chase and becomes something you carry. This is the calm the Stoics cultivated. Not passive, not fragile. Calm built through honesty, discipline, and daily alignment with reason. And it begins quietly. Every night you are willing to face yourself without flinching. Part 7. The 7-Day Stoic Challenge. Change becomes real only when it leaves the realm of ideas and enters the rhythm of your days. The Stoics understood this deeply. Philosophy, to them, was not something to admire or debate. It was something to practice. That is why this habit must be lived, not merely understood. And the simplest way to begin is with a clear, contained commitment. For the next 7 nights, you will practice Stoic self-examination exactly as it was intended. No embellishment, no optimization, no shortcuts. Just honesty, consistency, and restraint. This is not a challenge designed to impress anyone. It is designed to recalibrate your relationship with yourself. Each night, choose a quiet moment before sleep. 5 minutes is enough. Do not wait for the perfect setting. Do not wait to feel calm. Sit down as you are. Leave your phone in another room. The absence of distraction is part of the discipline. Ask yourself the same 3 questions every night. What did I do well today? Where did I fail to act with reason or discipline? What will I do better tomorrow specifically? Answer them simply. 1 or 2 sentences per question is enough. This is not a diary, it is an audit. The goal is clarity, not expression. During these 7 days, something subtle will begin to happen. On the first night, the questions may feel awkward. You may rush through them or soften the truth. That is normal. On the second and third nights, patterns will start to emerge. You will notice the same reactions repeating, the same avoidance, the same moments of strength you previously overlooked. By the 4th night, awareness will begin to move forward into the day. You will catch yourself mid-reaction and think, I'll have to answer this tonight. That single thought creates space, and in that space, choice becomes possible. This challenge is not about perfection. You will fail. That is expected. The Stoic goal is not flawlessness. It is my responsibility. Each mistake is material. Each lapse is instruction. You do not punish yourself for failure. You study it. There are 2 rules that must be respected. First, do not negotiate with yourself during the reflection. Do not justify. Do not explain. Observe. Record. Move on. Negotiation weakens discipline. Observation strengthens it. Second, do not turn this habit into self-attack. Harshness creates resistance. Calm honesty creates growth. Speak to yourself the way a firm but fair teacher would. Clear, direct, without cruelty. By the 7th night, most people notice a quiet shift, not a dramatic transformation, but a sense of alignment. Days feel less scattered. Reactions feel less automatic. Decisions feel cleaner. You may not feel happier, but you will feel steadier. And steadiness is the foundation of real confidence. This is how Stoic change works. It does not rely on intensity, it relies on continuity. One night leads to another. One correction leads to another. Over time, discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like identity. At the end of 7 days, do not rush to evaluate results. Simply notice how you relate to yourself. Notice whether excuses come more slowly. Notice whether awareness arrives sooner. Notice whether your standards feel clearer. If you choose to continue beyond 7 days, the habit will deepen. If you stop, you will still have tasted something rare: self-authorship. The knowledge that you can meet yourself honestly, without avoidance, and shape your character deliberately. This is the Stoic promise. Not control over life, but command over yourself. And it begins with a simple decision made each night, when the world is quiet and the truth is easiest to hear. Tonight, you learn that real change does not come from motivation, inspiration, or dramatic breakthroughs. It comes from one quiet Stoic habit practiced consistently: nightly self-examination. The Stoics understood that when you face yourself honestly each day, life stops controlling you. Your reactions soften, your choices sharpen. Your character becomes deliberate instead of accidental. This habit is simple, but it is not easy, and that is why it works. 5 minutes each night, 3 honest questions, no excuses, no self-punishment, just clarity, responsibility, and steady correction. Over time, this practice builds something rare in the modern world. Calm that does not depend on circumstances, and confidence that does not depend on approval. I encourage you to begin tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, tonight. Give yourself 7 days of honest reflection and notice what changes. Not around you, but within you. Thank you for spending this time reflecting with me. If this message resonated, support the channel by liking the video, subscribing, and sharing your experience in the comments. Until next time, remember, you don't change your life by forcing the world. You change it by governing yourself.